Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Come on in here and sit down with me. We're going to study this week Psalm 90. So pull up a chair to the table, open your Bible up, and let's get cracking here with Psalm 90. This is a wonderful psalm. It's very simple. It's only 17 verses long, and we have a unique author of the song. Now, we've seen psalms written by David. We've seen psalms written by Asaph. We've seen psalms written by the sons of Korah. We've seen psalms written by Ethan and Heman, the Ezrahites. Well, now we come to this psalm, and this is written by Moses. This is a prayer of Moses, the man of God. That's how this psalm is introduced. Isn't that interesting? So a prayer of Moses, the man of God. And as you read this psalm, you'll say to yourself, yes, what a marvelous prayer this is. So I've divided this into two parts, verses 1 through 11. These verses are the sovereignty of God versus the weakness of men. And the weakness of men is the problem for Moses. It's the thing that he's sort of focused on. And then in verses 11 through 17, we have his requests. And each of these verses, 11 through 17, contains a request. He's pleading for men to the Lord. And it's very interesting because the problem that he sees for men is the brevity of life. And so I've entitled this entire prayer of Psalm 90, a prayer for the brevity of life. And every man comes to the place where he looks back over his life and he says, how short it has been. So I know as a young person, you think, 1 year is an eternity. It just seems so long to go from January 1st to December 31st. It just seems like forever. But when you reach a certain age, you look back over your life and you say, all of those things happened so quickly. How did I end up here? So Moses, I think, is feeling that. And when he writes this prayer, we'll see some of that as we go through here. Now, today I just want to read verses 1 and 2. Verses 1 and 2 set up for us the sovereignty of God. Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou had formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. So he sets up the sovereignty of God here by describing the Lord's greatness and his eternal character. That's important because man's character is not eternal. And so he begins by building a contrast by setting up for us this idea that God is everlasting. And you'll notice that it says here in verse 2, from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. Nothing depends on him being God. Not the creation that he made, not the men that he put on this earth, not the things that he placed here, not the plants or animals or birds or creeping things. None of that depends on him being God. He doesn't depend on them to be God. He's just God. He's from everlasting to everlasting. So before the world was created, God. After the world is gone, God. So we have him. He's the one to which we have to do, and he's the one to whom we're going to make this prayer, of course. And when we get to that part, it's just wonderful. I hope, go ahead and read ahead. I mean, you'll love this. And I promise you'll want to take this into your prayer closet, especially the request that he makes. So he makes this perfectly wonderful declaration of God's eternal nature and character. And then he says, you have been our dwelling place in all generations, because the generations of men come and go, but the Lord remains. So he basically says twice, you're eternal, we're not. You're eternal, things fade, but you remain. Well, tomorrow we're going to look at some more of this sovereignty idea and introduce man's weakness. So I hope you'll join me then here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, Check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.